Today I'm working on my K Pro, trying to add in flex fuel in my wideband sensor. I'm gonna kind of go through the process, kind of show you what you need to do. You do need to have a version 4, which is you take the lid off. It is the whiteboard. It has the extra digital inputs and analog inputs, which are my camera will focus. The analog's on the right side. You can't read it because my phone zoom or focus. Either way, left side digital, right side's analog. This side's the one you need. Don't worry about the rest. Physically, if you buy a flex fuel kit, I got one with Burton the first time. It just has a little 1-wire hookup. It physically just goes on position 0 from what their stuff said. Physically plug it in. It just runs the flex fuel. 0 is the one to the very right. It does say it if you actually read it. Let me flip my thing up so you can actually see it. No doubt. Either way, the one on the very right is 0. I did have it upside down. Maybe I'll be right about this way. There we go. The one on the left now, because I have it upside down, but the 0 position is what we need for the flex fuel. The next one I'm going to use is the analog 7, which is going to be the third one from the right. I can point to it. The third one right there. The next 2 are grounds only. You do need one of those to run to your wideband also. Essentially, power is number 7 for you need, and either number, I guess it would be really the 8th or 9th one, or 9 or 10. Pick one of those and use for ground. I physically went with the plug they give you. I just physically went ahead. The red wire, I went to flex fuel system. I went with the purple wire, which is A7, which is the one I showed you. I just stripped a piece of wire, and the next one is the one right beside it. I just stripped a little bit of wire. Physically, run a wire from your wideband to this. On the AM one, it says you need to run it. The white wire needs to be the positive wire. The brown wire needs to be the negative wire. On this, physically, the purple wire, let's try to find it. The purple wire will be my white wire. The brown wire on the wideband, I'll be running to my black wire over here on the actual plug. Pretty simple. Just make sure you read up on your thing, because your color codes could be different, or it might not be analog, or you might have some new age one or something weird. Give me a few seconds. I'm going to plug it in and let you see what I'm doing. Alright, physically to plug it in, just take the actual plug and snap it in that way. I'm going to pause this real quick so I can do it with 2 hands so I don't break the pins off. This is a $1,500 computer, so I'm not willing to risk it. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Alright, without too much trouble, it literally just slid right on. I am going to zip tie it in here. I don't want my plug actually moving, because obviously it's a race car. It is all-wheel drive, so it will be launched very hard, so I would suggest do the same. Just physically run the wires through the actual hole that most people already pre-cut real wide. I always wonder why they cut the wire or the hole so crappily, but I guess to run it through there you kind of had to. But whatever. Give me 1 second, I'll zip tie it up and I'll kind of show you what I did. Alright, well, there's a couple zip ties, I got it right. Yours does not have to look like this, but I mean, it kind of should. Plug it in. I put a couple of zip ties just to kind of keep the wires nice and clean. But I also did this up here, so if you ever pull the wires real hard, it has only a little bit it can move. You don't break the pins. If you break them pins, you're gonna be shit out of luck. You gotta buy a new Hondata program or actually the board. So be careful. Spend 5 more minutes. Put a couple extra zip ties. I mean, worst case scenario, it looks a little extra, and who cares? But I zip tied it together in one loom. That way, it don't kind of touch everything. I'm gonna put the lid back on and put it back in the car. Alright, the lid's all hooked up. Wires ran on nice and neat. Now, if as leads I go in the car, just remember, run the red wire to the flex fuel, ground it to the black wire, and the purple wire is your power wire. So, physically, power, ground, and flex fuel. So if you don't have flex fuel, don't worry about it. Ground, power, should be pretty simple. Measure tape. Turn my light back on. Alright. Physically need to get it down here. Hook up. This is my flex fuel wire. First, I'm gonna start by that wire. I made a little cheap harness, or a little, I say ghetto harness. Power's red. The brown is the wideband wire. It was already a brown wire, so I just continue with the brown wire. Give me 1 second. I'll start taping it up, and I'll let y'all see. Alright, first one's done. My tape job a little better, but I cut my hand pretty bad the other day, so I can't really hold the camera nor the tape, so it's good for right now. I just want to make sure it's all going to work. I'm going to physically power the K-Pro program, turn it on, make sure nothing's weird. It's actually reading it and nothing's on fire, because I've had diagrams be wrong before. Like, you go on Google, hope it's right, and like, what's that smell like? Oh, somebody lied. Like, oh. So I'm gonna definitely double check it twice before I get too far. Give me a second. I'm gonna hook the next wire up, which will be the ground on the wideband. All right, got the ground all hooked up. Now just basically the power. Like I said, that one will essentially just be the purple wire. Yours could be different. I'm pretty sure Hondata use all the same ones, but if you do different one, double check. It's A7 on the analog side of the actual Hondata. Give me 1 second. I'll hook it up. I'll be right back. Alright, got the power hooked up. Basically just kind of taped the power and ground together and kind of ran a wire. That way there's not a bunch of random ass wires through my dash and everywhere. I went ahead and got the wideband all plugged in and hooked up. There's the little gauges. I just kind of manned up in my actual heating vent. Well, obviously I ended up heating my car, so give me a couple seconds. I'll kind of plug everything in and kind of show y'all the final product. Alright, kind of put it back up in there. I'm gonna hide it better later, but until I physically get the car retuned, I'm not gonna rush it too much. Tomorrow, or at least later, I'll have to charge my laptop, come back here, plug it in, make sure everything works. I'm gonna go through the actual K-Pro program and turn on the stuff, and I'll kind of show you all the stuff you gotta do to get that far, and we'll kind of go from there. Alright, all the wiring's done. Now physically go into your Hondata K-Pro program, open it up. Go ahead and open up where it says parameters. Excuse my phone being blurry, but at the top, obviously by now you're pretty familiar with it, but up here where the arrow is, says parameters. Physically click on it. Go over where it says closed loop. You need to click on it. Down here, you need to click where it says external wideband. It says K-Pro input version 4 only. I already have it set for analog 7 for my AAM wideband. Depending on what car you have, and like, I guess if you have, well, then we did an NGK wideband, we did an AAM wideband. Depending on which one it is usually is in the settings. Give me a second, I'll show you what I mean, but physically, it needs to be turned on to actually use it. You need to disable all the other stuff you don't need, but make sure this is actually turned on. It don't need to be on disabled. It don't need to be on built-in. It needs to be on external wideband. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pause it real quick. Alright, to get there, you need to go up here to where it says analog input. Click on it. On analog 0, I believe I'm going to use for the flex fuel, but I think I'm going to leave that alone for today. Over here, scroll down. Trying to do this with my finger messed up, so it's kind of hard. Physically, click on the number you want. Analog 7 is what you need. I physically put a name in mine, that way if you ever look in it, pops right up. In the conversion table, there is a whole bunch of different ones. Mine's the AM300300, I believe it says. There is a whole lot of different ones, depending on if you have a new AM, an old one. They have a whole bunch of different ones. There's an Innovate one. There's Motec, NGK. There's something that's called TechNedge and Ztronics or something. But there's a whole bunch of extra sensors. I physically have the one at the very top, so I'm gonna just leave it on that one. Need to go in here, make sure it's on air to fuel, nothing setting on something weird. Physically go back, hit enter. It should take it all. Go back to your closed loop. If it did work, you go over here, click on the box, select it, and it should come right up. The flex fuel thing, I think I'm gonna leave alone for the day. It needs to be on analog 0. But for today, I think I'm just gonna leave it alone until I actually talk to the tuner and get it all set up. But analog 0 is the one I have it wired to. I'm assuming the same idea. Start it there. Put flex fuel. Click on the conversion at once. I don't know which conversion it wants, if it wants raw voltage, custom voltage, or something. So versus burn something up, I'm gonna leave it alone for today and kind of talk to the tuner and make sure this is exactly what he wants. If he wants 5 volts going to it, if he wants to wait till I get there to the dyno. Either way, I'm gonna figure it out later. Basically, I guess the next step is just to be plug it in my car, make sure everything's reading. I kind of set my Hondata up so I can actually read like the RPM gauge, the throttle sensor, the map, air to fuel injectors, the duty cycle, ignition, pretty much everything your car needs. That way, if your dash don't read right or you're not quite sure, it kind of reads it in live time. Not, you kind of hope it's right. Your car's superheating, like, oh, why is it in the red zone? Like, oh, because it's 230 degrees. Like, oh. Because sometimes you do a case swap, your dash might not be just perfect, or you hope it's right and it's not right. Alright, give me 1 second, I'm going to place in the car. Alright, now we got that all done. Physically go hook your laptop up to your Hondata. Basically just turn your key on. Go up here to the ECU connect. Double click it. Make sure all the readings are reading. Like it says it's reading 14.7, but it could be wrong. I mean, wideband does say it's heating up, so it's possible it's that hot. Alright, it says 14.7. Guess let's start her up, see what she gets. Cross your fingers, guys. Not bad it is. My battery's low. Give me a second, I'll get the jump box and I'll be right back. Alright. When I got the jump box hooked up, Shut it round too. If it ain't the battery, it's more likely the damn it's out of gas because I got a fuel cell. So my gas gauge is inconsistent. It's hard to gauge 5-gallon fuel cell. So I think the battery's dead. I got 12 volts in with the damn jump box. Guess let's try it. Say my dang that fuel. Alright, give me 1 second. Let's see what we got. We do got fuel pressure, but not a lot. That says piotic gas. Or my battery's very dead. If y'all didn't know, it's K20 with a big turbo. Alright, I'm 90% sure it was the gas fan Rollo. I put like 2 or 3 gallons and it looked like it didn't even fill it up. Yeah. Well, it's actually fuel. Might have to start. Alright, give me 1 second. Alright, after diagnosing it for a couple seconds, I kind of figured what it was, but I know what it is now. I pulled all the plugs out. Really wasn't going to run with all that gas. My fuel pump's big, and I'm apparently guessing it flooded real quick when I tried to start it up. I pulled all 4 plugs out. I pulled the outside coils out. I'm going to let it sit with nothing in the holes. Wait maybe an hour or two. Let it dry up and kind of absorb all the gas or disperse the gas, or you call it. I guess give me like an hour or so. I'll come back out and kind of go from there. Alright, after waiting like an hour and a half, I couldn't wait much longer. I went ahead and charged the jump box up. Got 4 plugs in. They're just the ones I had in my toolbox. The other ones are so dirty and set it up, I'm not about to put them back in. Give me a couple seconds. I'm going to throw the coil packs back in, get everything clipped back on, and see what we can do. Alright, coil packs are back in. I might as well just slow it down. Alright, just give me a second. Let me get my computer back on and let's try this again. Alright, after recalibrating it, it does work. I forgot to calibrate the wideband sensor again. Physically, you need to take it out of the pipe and actually do it. I think last time we already did it, but I didn't actually have the wideband hooked to the computer, so I guess it doesn't matter that time. All right, guys. Hope this helps you out. Have a good day. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Anything y'all want to see, please comment and let me know. I got a lot of projects in the process, so be patient. Let me know. Hopefully later y'all see this at the track, but until I get it retuned, just in the works. Have a good day.